Hey everybody, and welcome back to another review. This is Johnny and I'm over at Perkins Motors in Colorado Springs. Today we're checking out the three-row option of the 2026 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited Reserve. On our last video we checked out the two-row option of a very similar trim setup, and I did have a request to see how this new 2-liter Hurricane performs in the three-row. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and check out what bells and whistles and features this has, and we'll take it for a test drive and see how it compares. So starting here in the front of the 2026 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited Reserve, just like the last one, this is going to have the 7-slot grille with your 360 camera mounted in the center. Down here you are going to have parking sensors across the front and along with LED fog lights and LED headlights. This is going to be with the Baltic gray exterior, which is a gorgeous gray, very dark, low-key type of color, and it is paired really nicely with these really cool aluminum alloy 20-inch wheels mounted with Bridgestone all-season tires on there. We do have a really cool body line that cuts across the door handles here. On your side mirrors you are going to have the blind spot monitor system along with your 360 camera with that extra camera on the bottom, and then of course you do have that gorgeous Grand Cherokee emblem there. Coming across, you do have keyless entry for all 4 door handles. You have these LED tail lights, brake lights, and backup lights with the Jeep badging and the 4x4 badging on the side there. As we lift it up, you'll see that backup camera along with the 360 camera. And inside this powered tailgate here, you are going to have your 3-row storage right here. You can fold the 3rd row down, of course, and that's going to give you a flatter storage along with folding the 2nd row down. Underneath here, you are going to have some storage, your jack, and your spare tire, which is located underneath the vehicle. To close the tailgate, you just press this button right here. Coming across the driver's side on the back side here, we are going to have this push to open gas cap with the easy fill. It takes regular unleaded, and then you do have your little Jeep Easter egg right there. Inside the back seat here, you are going to first have on the door this really cool wood trim. You're going to have the chrome, physical door handles. You're going to have a lock button for both passengers. You've got your window controls and your speakers on the door here. You are also going to have a perforated contrast stitching leather, which is a really nice touch. You are going to have easy fold seats with really easy access to the 3rd row, and then your seats are also adjustable for the 2nd row. Now this option here does come with the captain's chairs, so this is going to just be a 6-seater instead of a 7-seater, but there is that option available. This specific package does have climate control for the rear passengers along with heated seats and their own vents, along with some plug-ins and some cup holders, and of course your standard Jeep net pockets. To gain access to the 3rd row, you're just going to pull this little lever right here, and the seat does lift up completely. The seat does also fold down by that switch there, so if you're wanting the extra storage space, you can fold it. But this gives us a ton of space to climb in. We'll go ahead and do this on camera here, and as you can see in the back seat here, you are going to have quite a bit of space. You've got 2 seats here. You do have cup holders on the side along with their own plugins, USB-A and USB Type-C for the backseat passengers. So taking a look in the back seat here, this is in the 2nd row of the Grand Cherokee. Right now I've got the seat scooted all the way back. I'm 6 feet tall. The seat is reclinable slightly, but either way I feel like I have plenty of headroom. I don't feel like I'm encroaching on the ceiling. That was something that the 2nd row, without it being reclined, was something that I didn't fit really well in. But these captain's chairs feel really nice. I've got armrests right here, and then I do have my own personal vent here. I have the driver's seat right now adjusted for where I sit when I drive, and I'm 6 feet tall. So if I wanted to give more space to the back seat, I could slide this. If I go all the way forward, I'm way cramped, but that would give them a ton of space back there, and depending on how the driver is sized, that would work. But even here with giving pretty good access in the 3rd row, this is pretty decent space, and I still have some space in front of my knees. Okay, so now I'm in the 3rd row here of the Grand Cherokee, and I have a pretty decent amount of space. So I did have this scooted to the midpoint, so it's not all the way forward and it's not all the way back. It could probably, for my size in the 3rd row, it could probably come back maybe another 2 inches before my foot gets crushed, but I do always have this empty space here where I could kind of angle my legs out if you have a taller person riding in the back. Inside the driver's seat here, you're going to have a very similar door setup with the wood, the chrome, the door handle. You've got seat memory, window controls, and of course your lock and unlock buttons. You are also going to have power seats for both the driver and the passenger in the front, along with a telescoping steering wheel with controls on either side, your light controls, and then you are going to have your lights down here along with your regular plastic pedals. Now I've already got the vehicle running, but we're going to take a look under here. Now this is the biggest change that Jeep has made since the previous models. This is going to have the new 2-liter inline-4 turbocharged Hurricane motor. This is going to have 324 horsepower along with 332 pounds of torque. It's very quick, very zippy. I liked the way it felt in the 2-row, so now we're going to see how this feels in the 3-row. Before we go for a spin, we're going to check out some of the bells and whistles inside here. On the left side of your steering wheel are all your controls for the instrument cluster here, which is fully digital. You also have your answer and hang up buttons along with your cards. On the right side, we are going to have the adaptive cruise control with the steering assist, which is actually really nice. I tried it out on the 2-row, and we'll go ahead and test that out so you guys can see in this video here. You have windshield wiper controls on this side. You have your blinkers and your brights. Now up here, you are going to have a fully digital rear view mirror, which is really cool. You can also flick it down to go to a standard mirror and then flick that back up for the rear view. You are going to have a large 12.3-inch wide screen here. It's high definition with wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and a built-in navigation system. On the left side here, you are going to have your heated seats, ventilated seats, and heated steering wheel controls. And of course, you have the same for your passenger over there. You're going to have a haptic button set up here for the climate controls, which are dual zone. You are going to have a little storage cubby right below the start button here with a wireless phone charger with a ventilator. And then you also do have underneath here the chargers for other devices. In the center right here, you are going to have your gear shift, which is just a turnstile knob, and then you do have your select track system with sand and mud, snow, auto, and sport, and we'll try out the auto and sport during our dry test drive today. Right above us here, we are going to have our home link controls. We've also got a hatch button here. We've got your interior lights and light controls, assist SOS, and then of course your controls right up here for your panoramic sunroof. You are also going to have a sunglass holder, which is a really nice feature to have in modern cars. And then you do have that full panoramic sunroof. I do want to check out one really cool feature that this comes with under the vehicle settings. Of course, you have the surround view camera, which is a really nice feature along with the forward-facing camera. But the really cool camera that's on this one is your fam cam. So this is really cool. It gives you a infrared, almost night vision look for the back seats, so you can see into your 3rd row and 2nd row. And what's really nice is you can click on which seat you want to take a look at, and it zooms in on it over here. So if you have a kid sitting in this seat, you can zoom in there. If you have one sitting in the back or over here, it zooms in on this side so you can take a look at them without having to turn around. Okay, so now we're in the driver's seat and we're about to hit the road for a test drive here. But turning out onto 8th Street here, it's got a really nice low-end acceleration. That was something that I really hit on the last video, was talking about how well this thing accelerates in the lower speed range. Now today we're going to be taking the backwards route for the test drive. Normally, if you've seen some of my videos, you'll know that part of my test drive is these really steep switchbacks, but I wanted to switch things up a little bit today and do the switchbacks going up instead of the switchbacks going down and see how this handles on hill acceleration. Okay, so I just reset the trip meter for the vehicle right at the beginning of the test drive here, so we're gonna see how many miles per gallon I get and see how far this test drive route normally is. So I'm going to do a decent portion of this test drive in sport mode. Normally you would sit in auto mode or move it into snow if it's snowing, but I want to really see how this performs in the sport mode to get the most amount of torque and power out of the vehicle. I'm really starting to like this 880RE transmission that they switched to for the Hurricane motor. It's a very, very smooth, aggressive transmission. It's got really nice aggressive shifts when you want it, and when you don't, the shifts are really, really smooth in the upper end. So I like having them a little more aggressive in the lower end and a little bit smoother in the high end. We're at 55. I'm gonna gun it. There was about a 2-second turbo lag delay there. It wasn't terrible, and now I'm all the way up at 80 miles an hour. So really, really nice acceleration there. I will say that it doesn't feel that much heavier than the 2-row. This feels about the same. Definitely with the bigger motor configurations, and if you were used to driving the Hemi models of the Grand Cherokee, then the top end acceleration is going to feel just slightly lackluster. But I mean, 324 horsepower out of a very fuel efficient turbocharged engine, and not having to deal with hybrid technology, this is definitely a very nice combination of equipment. I really do like the sound of the Hurricane. It's got a really aggressive interior noise. It's not a low grumble to where it would like bother your ears after a while. It's just nice hearing something in the vehicle, giving you that impression that the vehicle's actually working. That's something that a lot of hybrid and electric vehicles are lackluster in, and I really like how Jeep is sticking with their roots, going back to gas and just making sense and having a really nice sound to it. Now for this portion of the highway, we're going to go ahead and put on the active driving assist, which is the cruise control here. We're going to set this and we're going to go ahead and move over to the next lane, and we're going to set our speed to about 70. But this active driving assist in this, I'm honestly really impressed with how well the software is working on this. The lane markings here are not the best, and it's still keeping a very straight line. It's not bouncing between the lanes. When there's curves, the vehicle is taking me right around those curves with no issues. And it's given me a very comfortable and smooth drive here. That's perfect. I'm not applying any steering. The exit lane had where the lane markings went away completely, and the vehicle continued on the track here. I didn't have to worry about that. So I'm literally just resting my hand on the steering wheel here. I'm letting the car do its thing, and I'm very, very impressed. Honestly, very impressed with how well this is handling these curves, how it's staying in the middle of the lanes. It's not bouncing back and forth. Honestly, the acceleration in this is really nice. I was kind of talking down on that a little bit in the last video, and I think I'm kind of getting used to it. I drive a lot of really powerful, fun cars, and so those top-end accelerations are usually a lot more responsive. But for a larger, mid-sized SUV like the Grand Cherokee, this is handling that very well. Another little side note that I didn't mention in the previous Grand Cherokee review is how comfortable these seats are. They're firm, but in the right places, and the ergonomics of it, they fit someone like me really well. We're gonna get a really unfair miles per gallon estimate on the vehicle here because we've been stuck in stop and go traffic here for the last 10 minutes because there's a traffic light up here that is down. Okay, so we're back on the open road there, and I had a nice little acceleration from 0. I wasn't putting it all the way down. I was just kind of giving a little bit, but I really, really do enjoy the sound that exhaust gives off in the vehicle. I mean, this sounds really sporty. And for a 2-liter, it doesn't sound whiny, That's one of my complaints with some of the smaller 4-cylinders is that whiny turbo sound. This just had a nice, like, kind of a mean roar to it for a small motor. I'm really impressed. Heading uphill here, just giving it a little bit of gas as it goes uphill, it's very responsive in that. There's only maybe a half of a second of turbo lag, probably less than that. And then it just kicks on right away, and it feels really nice. We're gonna see how this handles on the turns, and then also how it handles on the acceleration uphill. So we're gonna take this turn, and we're gonna give it a little bit of gas going through. And that feels really nice. I think it was detecting a vehicle because he was kind of out of his lane as he was turning, but I wasn't in the way of hitting him, so I think that's why it beeped. Yeah, that handled that just fine. I didn't feel like it was struggling to get uphill or anything. And to have a 3-row SUV, powered by a 2-liter, can be a little bit daunting and probably unbelievable. I would highly recommend going and test driving one for yourself. If you want to swing down and check it out, you could always come and find me here. I'm at Perkins Motors in Colorado Springs. So if you live in Colorado Springs or here in Colorado and want to come and test drive one with me, I'd be happy to help you. But feel free to test drive one at your local dealership. These feel really nice. It's a much different feel than the 3.6 Pentastar, but I think it's a good feel. It's a much different feel in a good way. I'm quite impressed with the steering responsiveness of these Grand Cherokees. They don't feel very big. There's very little body roll. They handle turns and curves really well. The acceleration, the braking, really everything. I mean, it's a very well-crafted vehicle. You know, I'm very impressed with the ride quality in this. I think that it's very smooth. It's handling bumps really well. The active noise control that I talked about earlier is very nice. It's just a nice, quiet, peaceful, smooth ride. You know, honestly, I think that really the only difference in regards to this versus the two-row option is the miles per gallon that I'm getting. I'm getting right around 19. Now, in all fairness, we did spend about 10 minutes of the test drive sitting in stop-and-go traffic, and that just drains your miles per gallon because you're getting 0 miles per gallon when you're sitting still and the engine's on. So maybe that's not the most fair, but at the same time, there's plenty of times that you get stuck in stop-and-go traffic during daily driving anyways. So, I mean, that gives you a much more fair comparison. But for a three-row SUV with plenty of power behind it, getting 18, 19, 20 miles per gallon driving around the city and stop-and-goes is really nice. Alrighty, folks, we're back here at Perkins Motors. We're going to take one more look around the vehicle, and I'll give you my final thoughts on what we just experienced. Well, alrighty there, folks. There you have it. That is the 2026 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited Reserve L. This is the three-row. So compared to the two-row, I do think that the rides are very similar. I would argue this is just a little bit more smooth. Maybe it's a little bit longer. It feels really nice. The acceleration, there wasn't a noticeable difference, anything that felt like this is much heavier. I still feel like the 2-liter is very well capable of handling it, and you do get some pretty decent miles per gallon, both in the city and on the highway. I'd say really, you know, for the bang you get for your buck, very smooth ride, lots of bells and whistles and safety features, lots of space in the middle row and the third row, which is pretty rare to get a lot of space in the third row. I do like the way they have this all set up, and I think for 55 grand, this is a steal. Right now, we are running huge specials on all of our vehicles here at Perkins Motors, and I know that we have a couple $1,000s off of these, even though that they just arrived. So if you're interested in picking one up, even if you don't live nearby, go and test drive one at your local dealership, shoot me a call, let me know how we can earn your business, and I'd be happy to help you out. Once again, folks, my name is Johnny. Thank you so much for spending time with me. If there's another Jeep, Ram, Dodge, or Chrysler product that you'd like reviewed or to see some more on, leave a comment down below. What are your thoughts on this one? What vehicles would you like me to test drive? And I'd look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Peace.